Hello Year 8. Today we are doing sketching using the X and Y intercept method. So this is the last method that we're going to learn for sketching straight lines. So if you remember, we used table of values, then we did horizontal and vertical lines, then we do the gradient and Y intercept method, and this last one is called the X and Y intercept method. So the X and Y intercept can be found by substituting in 0. So for example, what we're going to do for each one of these, we're going to start by substituting in when x equals 0 into our equation and see what we get. So let's do that. When x equals 0 into this equation here, that would give us 5 times 0, because x is 0, minus 3y equals 15. Now 5 times 0 is really 0, it's nothing, so I'm going to cross that out because that actually equals nothing. So I have minus 3y is equal to 15. Now that's a little equation that I can solve to find y, and to get the y by itself I'll need to divide by negative 3, cancel that off, and I get y equals 15 divided by negative 3, which is minus 5. So what I have found is my y-intercept. When x is 0, so x-axis, x is 0, y is equal to minus 5, is that point there on the graph. Now what I'm going to do is find the x-intercept, which is when the y is equal to 0. So I start with the same equation again, and I sub in that y is 0 this time. So that is 5x minus 3y, but y is 0, so it's 3 times 0 equals 15. Now, just like last time, 3 times 0 is nothing. It means nothing, so let's cross it out. So I have 5x equals 15, and I want the x by itself. So I'm going to divide by 5. Get rid of that. X equals 15 divided by 5 is 3. So x is equal to 3, y is equal to 0 is right there, and they are the 2 points. So what we're actually finding is the point on the x-axis and the point on the y-axis that my line goes through. And we connect it up and we've drawn our line. So it's a little bit more working out that we have to do down here, but we do get a nice line fairly quickly at the end of it. So let's try the process again for question 2. The process is always the same. We want to find out when x is equal to 0, what happens, and we want to find out when y is equal to 0, what do we get? So we do each of those things. This time my equation is 2x plus 5y equals 10. So subbing in that x equals 0, I have 2 times 0 plus 5y equals 10. 2 times 0 is nothing, cross it out. So 5y equals 10. Now I want to get rid of the 5, so I divide by 5. And I get y equals 10 divided by 5 is 2. So x is 0, y is 2 is my first point. Now for the second one, I want y is equal to 0 into that equation. So that is 2x plus 5 times 0 equals 10. 5 times 0 is nothing, cross it out. 2x equals 10. Now to get the x by itself, I'll divide by 2. X equals 10 divided by 2 is 5. So x equals 5 is my other intercept. And connect it up. Oh, arrows on the end. Okay, so we're just going to do the same process over and over again. So let's do it again. We're always going to find what happens when x is 0 and what happens when y is 0. So when x is 0 into our new equation, we will get 2 times 0 minus y equals 4. 2 times 0 is 0. Cross it out. I have minus y equals 4. Now to get rid of the minus sign in front of that y, I need to divide by a negative 1. Okay, that will cancel that off, and I get y equals to 4 divided by negative 1, which is negative 4. So y equals negative 4 down here. Then for the second half of the question, when y equals 0 into my equation, that's 2x minus 0 equals 4. 0 doesn't do anything, cross it out. So I have 2x equals 4. I want to divide by 2 to get rid of that one, and x equals 4 divided by 2, which is 2. So x equals 2 is right there. So I found the two intercepts. I use my ruler to join them up. Okay, question 4. Always the same method. We want to find out what happens when x equals 0, and we want to find out what happens when y equals 0. So subbing x equals 0 into this equation, we get 3x would be 3 times 0 plus y equals 5. 3 times 0 is nothing, cross it out, and I get y equals 5. That's finished. Y equals y, so y-axis for y equals 5 up there. Then for y equals 0, starting with my first equation there again, I get 3x plus y, but we're putting a 0 in for the y, equals 5. We don't need the 0, so I'm going to cross it off, and I have 3x equals 5. Now I want to divide by 3 to get the x by itself. Now this one doesn't go so nicely, so you could type in 5 over 3. You could write it as a decimal. I would probably go to a mixed numeral though, so that would be x equals 1 and 2/3. So not all of your numbers are going to come out nicely. So for this one, 1 and 2/3, just do your best to approximate whereabouts that would be, just a little bit slightly over halfway between the 1 and the 2 there. And then rule it up. If I can get my ruler to stay in the right spot. That's it. Okay, so I've just done 4 of those for you today. So we're going to have 2 lessons on this. So you're going to start on exercise 9. There's some questions in here for you to practice. And I'll show you some more again tomorrow just to make sure that you're on the right track.